Hey, what's going on, guys? Logan from Mighty Reptiles here with our boy Eddie, who is now 13 days old, so just shy of 2 weeks old, and he is just growing like a weed, and he's still keeping that personality, which is great. But other than that, I am here to make a short little video for you guys on the back end of how YouTube videos are made, because I know it's just been long due for me to create these videos that I'm going to have coming up, which is the tips on how you can start doing your own, because anybody can do it. If you have a camera, which is just your phone, or a standalone camera like the G7X that I'm using right now, and you have snakes, guess what? You can film your snakes, and you can put that up on YouTube, just like that. And I found that a lot of people that I talk to are just really intimidated by the fact that they feel like they're not good enough with computers to know how to edit a video. So I'm just gonna kind of step you guys through really the back end of how I go about it. And I have multiple programs that I used to use. So I'm gonna go through the basic free one, and I have one that is a paid program that may not be available to some people. So I'm gonna show the way that I do it, and then I'm gonna show the easy free way to do it. The only thing is that when you use the free program, you just have a little less options to do, and yeah, so that's pretty much all it is. And it's actually incredibly simple. When it comes to videos like this, all I do is audio balance, so that you guys aren't constantly having to ramp up the volume to be able to hear, and then all of a sudden it gets too loud and then you have to turn it down. I try to keep it at a constant level, and then as you guys notice, with all the music in the background, that actually serves a function other than, you know, covering up all the boring parts when I don't know what to say. That actually covers up all of our AC that we have going on, because California is so hot and we constantly are blasting AC still as it's November right now. So other than that, let's just get right to the computer and I can show you guys how I actually go about editing these videos. Alright, so now we're at the computer here, and it is, as you can see, I'm just like at my desktop, and I'm going to go through two programs that are really easy. This first one here is absolutely free, and this is Windows Movie Maker. And the other one I'm going to be showing you is a paid product. You can use a trial, but it is going to leave some really annoying big watermarks on your video. And I don't just mean ones that appear on the top here. I mean squares, like that cover the bottom like eighth of the frame, which really stinks. But if you guys do want to try how it is, then definitely go for it. I definitely recommend Sony Vegas as far as an editing tool. And first thing I'm going to show you here is Windows Movie Maker. So let me just get right back to that. Here is the footage that I have here. Let me actually just go ahead and clean this up. So we just have 3 videos here, as you can see. Oh, it does not want to have me have icons. There we go. So we have 3 videos, and then we have our music here. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to just go ahead and take our first piece of footage and just drag it in. And that's all I need to do. It's going to take a little bit to load, but it's really quite easy. And pretty much what I'm going to cover is I'm going to cover how to actually trim your video in the program to really just make it cohesive and just really flow together, and how to actually put in music properly, whether you're using it for a function or if you just want it to sound nice in the background. In our videos here, we actually have it serve a purpose, and I'll show you guys that in a second. And now that it's done, I can stop rambling and actually get on to the part about the editing. So as you can see, we have our actual audio bits here, which is all these little gray marks all the way across the video. And I have it actually zoomed all the way in. If I don't want to be looking too much in detail, then I can actually zoom it out, or I have it all the way zoomed in. So as you can see, I don't actually start talking until right here. So this is just a whole bunch of empty space. And this is actually created because, as you can see, I'm pulling my hand back here. And that's because I have to reach around the camera to actually go ahead and start recording. And I pull my hand back and then I start talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and wait until probably about right here. Because this is, as you can tell, I'm actually about to talk, even though I'm making this stupid face. And I'm going to go ahead and hit set start point. And then from here, I'm actually going to go ahead and put in a medium fade in, so I don't blow out somebody's ears if the video is a little bit loud and they have their headset turned all the way up. And this gives them a little bit of an opportunity to actually be able to ease into the volume, and not just hit them with the volume just like that. So now here's what we have. Hey, what's going on, guys? Looking for Mighty Reptiles. Here's my daddy's behind the camera. And then, as you guys can also tell in there, if you guys could here, especially in here. Here, let me just go ahead and add the second piece because it's a little bit more obvious what I'm going to be talking about in there when we talk about music serving as a function. Because in this second video here, we actually don't use, we don't talk very much. This is one that I would typically speed up and use in there because this is us pulling her off the clutch. So it's a little bit more of a cinematic thing rather than a regular moment where I'm actually just talking to you guys. So as you can see, it takes a little bit to actually go ahead and actually get started. All it's really doing is getting all these waveforms ready for you. So as you can see, here's a bit where I'm talking here, and then here back in the corner, here, and then here. But all this stuff in here that you see these little spikes of, all that is the air conditioning, because we are in Southern California in the middle of November and we're still having to blast AC into this room to keep it at temperature. So it is just ridiculous, but it also creates a lot of noise. So I'm going to go ahead and play for you what it sounds like at the current time. It's an annoying noise, right? So when we add music, we actually do it with a purpose to actually go ahead and cover all that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab our piece of music, and of course this is in the way, so I'm going to just drop it off to the side, and I'm going to grab it and then drag it to the front. As you can see, just like the video, the music doesn't start right away, so I'm actually going to go ahead and skip all and just keep hitting next frame, next frame, next frame, all the way up until we get to where I want it to be, which is going to be right about here. And I'm going to go ahead to Music Tools, and I'm going to hit Set Start Point, so it's going to drag that to the front. And then I want this to fade in really slowly. So if you guys do remember on the video here, we have it as a medium. So if the music's on slow, then they're going to be able to hear us before they hear the music, which is what I do want. And then I'm going to go ahead with the video, and I'm also going to put a nice fast fade out for a transition. So now, as you can see here, this is what it would now sound like down here. Let's go here since this is where the main beat is. That's really nice, right? You don't have the AC sound anymore, which we were using it for to get away. But here's the new issue that we've created. Now we have actually put this in the video, but it's at maximum volume. What's going on, guys? Looking for Mighty Reptiles. Here's my daddy's behind the camera, or he's technically behind the camera, but I'm holding it. But which in this part for the intro really isn't all that bad. But if I do go over here where there's actually, let's say, here's the main talking point again, but you can see this is also the main beat right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play once again. 5 slugs. There's 2 right here that rolled out, and 3 in the middle. You can't tell at all what I'm saying. So it is just completely just it just muffles everything that I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down probably about to like right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just click back over this and listen
5
again.
Slugs. There's 2 right here that rolled out, and
a little bit
3
more.
in the middle. So
All right. Now I can hear the AC again. Bring it back up.
We may actually be able to have potential.
So somewhere in between right there where I can just barely hear the AC, and right here where it's getting a little bit on the loud side in terms of comparing to my actual voice, that is going to be your sweet spot that you're going to have to play with. So here, one thing that you also see me use is I actually use a fade in to really just kind of ease into the video. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to animations, and you can drag this down so you can actually see all of them. And oh, that's the cinematic one. So here is just the fade in right there. And whereas a minute, or not a minute, a second and a half is typically pretty long for an for some effect like that. In the intro bit, it's really okay. So I'm gonna leave it at that, a second and a half, and this is what we have now.
What's going on, guys? Looking for Mighty Reptiles. Here's my daddy's behind the camera.
So there it is. It actually is pretty good now. Whereas it wasn't necessarily bad before, but it did just add a little bit of just sort of like an easing into it, which is a nice effect to have on your video. So other than that, let's get down here where the 2 videos actually join. So when I actually go into here, as you can see, this is what it's like now with the hard cut.
Alright.
See, not only is that hard in terms of the video jump, that is harsh in terms of audio too. However, first thing I want to do here is actually go and skip forward a little bit to where I actually start talking here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, set start point. And then now we're going to go ahead and apply that same fade in right here. But since we're not starting from black, we're not going to use the start point, because then it separates them. When we do it from white, as you can see there, it overlays them, which is really nice. And it also balances their audio in that little time span here, as well as does the video, which is really nice. However, like I said, a second and a half is really long in terms of a transition in between. That's just a lot of dead space, and you lose a lot of momentum that way. So when you actually go in here and hit play now,
Alright.
you can see that harsh jump from me talking to AC wasn't as bad, and it also it really slid well together when it came to changing of the camera angle from in my hand to the fixed position, which was a little hard in the beginning. So now what we're going to do here to really just finish this up is we're just going to throw the third one in there, and we do have to wait for the actual audio to be able to be read. It really doesn't need to be cut at all. It's a really small amount here for the gap, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply that to it. Oh, I don't have to drag on this program. And then make it a half second once again. So now when we click here,
So yeah, so they are.
very smooth transition. And then now, since we're at the very end here, we're going to want it to go ahead and have a fade out, and we're going to want it to have a fade out for the music as well, because this would typically be the very end of the video. You can either go ahead and just trim out the music or do whatever, but that is exactly how you would do this here. Let me see here. Yeah, nothing here that would be of any use for an actual vlog in there. So yeah, a very simple program to use. It's free. However, you just don't have that many options. Like I said, here's the list of animations. Here I can literally show all of them to you just with one little scroll. There's not that many. And then visual effects, none that really matter. And then here you can emphasize your video and stuff like that. But when you're doing your own audio mixing like this, the program, when it does it by itself, tends to be a little rough. So it's something that you typically don't mess with. And then other than that, it is just really simple, and you just go here and you would save. And that's all you'd have to do when using this program. Now we're actually going to switch from this one. I'm just going to close it, and I'm going to open up the program that I use, which is going to be a little bit complicated, but it is worth it in terms of all the stuff that you can do. And as you can see, I don't need to keep referring back to this folder. All I did was just drop it into the program, and bam, it has all of my stuff preloaded. So when I go ahead and drop this in there, we don't have to wait for it to load, which is a really nice touch there. And then if I want to look at all the different transitions that this has to offer, I have transitions here and the video effects, and as you can see, it has a huge amount over here on the left side. This is an actual full-on program, and as you can see, it's not just the options here. Each option has multiple options, and that's something that's really nice. I typically don't use these in vlogs and stuff like that. They also have the same video effects. I only have ever used these when doing those feeding videos where I wanted to have something in there, but in my case, I don't really tend to use these. I like the whole simple look of the vlog. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click in the very beginning of the video so it knows where I want to scroll to and zoom in. So I'm just going to hit scroll wheel, and I'm going to scroll wheel forward so it actually zooms in, and we can see here's where I actually start talking. So now I can just go in here and find out when I start making my stupid face, and there we go. I'm going to hit S for split, or if you're going to do the same thing here, it would just be right click and it's right there. And I'm going to hit delete, or you can right click and go to delete, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull this to the very beginning so that we don't have this blank space. Because watch, if I were to leave this here and then start it,
Hey, what's going on, guys?
it would still include all of this dark area. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this to the very beginning. And then, just like we did the fade in with the other one, I'm going to do a fade in of 2 seconds here. And then I'm going to do a fade in here, just past the intro. So now if we were to play it,
Hey, what's going on, guys? Looking for Mighty Reptiles.
it really just eases everything into it, which is really nice. And so far it is almost exactly like the other program, but it, like I said, you do have your files preloaded, so you don't have to worry about all that. And then here we don't have to worry about cutting the end of it off because, like I said, I had switched the camera around, so there isn't the issue of me reaching around the camera like I had in the beginning here. So when I go ahead here, we want to go ahead and just chop off a little bit of this. And when it comes to fading two parts together on this program, all you got to do is lay them over each other. So now when we play this through,
Let's get right into it. All right.
so typically what I would do in this situation, but I'm not going to do right now, is I would, since I'm not talking, I would go ahead, I'm going to hit V here, and we're going to find the last point that I talked at right here. I'm going to right click on the purple line, add a point, hit next frame, right click, oh, it's not going to let me do it. It'll skip a little bit. Right click, add another point, and I'm going to drag it all the way down. And then, or down to where the AC isn't bothering us anymore. And then right here we see that I'm talking again. Right click here on it, add a point, go just before it, add a point, so that this part doesn't stay affected, because it will create a curve, and there we go. Just drop it right back up to where it should be. As you can see, just drops down, and then there is talking there. Then I can just go right here, add a point for my last one, right click, add a point for the second after, drop it down. See that I'm talking here again, right click on add a point, right click, add a point, and then drag this one back up. And it's just a little bit more tedious this way, but as you can see, I deleted all of this AC noise. I mean, it's not completely gone, but it is just no longer a major issue. But still, to create a little bit of ambient noise, I'm going to go ahead and go here with the music, and I'm going to go ahead and chop off the beginning, just like we did the last time. Drag it to the front, and I'm going to fade it in. I'm going to fade it even further than here. So now, we still have this issue. The music is up way too loud for us to be able to hear, and this is something that a lot of people forget.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Looking for Mighty Reptiles. Here's my daddy's behind the camera, or he's technically.
So there you go. You can see that the music's just way too loud, even without being in the beat area, like over here. It is just completely covering me whenever the music is playing. And I just seem to pause on every wonderful face I make, don't I? So what we're going to do here is to turn volume down on this program. All I'm going to do is literally just take this and drag it down. So all I got to do is just drag that down, and I try to roughly match what I believe the AC to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to where the AC actually is, and that music pretty well covers it. You can still hear the AC in there, but it's just really, really muffled by the actual music itself. And as you can tell, we just hit the beat, so once the beat hits, the AC is going to be completely gone. So right there, it actually was just completely covered up by the music. So as far as from here to get the third one in, all I got to do is just take it and drag it back on. And then from here, I can see that I have a dead area, so I'm going to go cut it. And now I'm going to actually just fade the outside of it as if this were the outro to my video. Find the end of this by clicking the very end of it, and it'll grab onto the end. And then by still clicking somewhere on the line, but on the lower end, it's going to keep the line in the same place while going down there. So now I just hit S again to split it, and then I can go ahead and delete that part. So now I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to fade this music since this would be the end of the video. And just like that, we have a very nice video. I would still go in and work on here, and this part needs to be dragged down a little bit more, just like that. And then I would go in here and turn it down, go in here and turn it down. But other than that, this would be a completed video, and it is just it would be audio balanced. It wouldn't be anything that you'd have to worry about, and it would still be visually appealing when it comes to your transitions here. So it is a paid program, but as you can see, it's really nothing difficult. It is something that you get used to with time. You're actually able to speed up. The main issue that a lot of people will have with this is that it will actually take more time, because before, if you just had your footage, then you would just take that footage and just directly upload it to YouTube. Whereas now, you are taking your footage, putting it on your computer, and let's say you edit for 30 minutes, and you get it to just right where you want it to be. You increase the quality of the video tenfold, and then from there, you took 30 minutes, but then you had to save what you did. And that could take 30 minutes to an hour, even though it's just a 10-minute video. So instead of just getting your footage and uploading it to YouTube, now it is getting your footage and then an hour and a half process, and then you get to upload it to YouTube. So it's a little bit bigger in that sense, and also it's going to be a bigger file size, so it is going to take a little bit longer to upload to YouTube. So other than that, I really hope this allowed some of you guys to really understand that editing really isn't all that big of a deal. It's something that anybody can do, and it's just incredibly simple and that you can try your hand at. So yeah, other than that, like the video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be doing the 1750 subscriber. I'm going to be announcing it either today or tomorrow. It's mostly just whenever we figure out which snake we're going to be giving away. And then other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya.